Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Logistics Executive TV today. I am joined by two entrepreneurs and very well-known developers in the area of aviation mobility and urban aviation mobility. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Yvonne Winter. Yvonne, no relation. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kim. So we met last year.
We did indeed.
At the Move in London.
Thanks so much.
Was a great pleasure. And I since then follow your posts and everything. So really nice to talk to you again.
Good to see you again as well. So Yvonne, you're the co-founder and COO of FlyNow Aviation.
Right.
And we're also joined by Jürgen Greil. And Jürgen, you are also a co-founder, a long-time developer, entrepreneur, designer, developer, and investor in automotive, but also in the aviation space. Jürgen, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Excellent. So maybe we just start off with a bit of a heads up on yourself personally for a minute or so. Yvonne, if you give us a bit of a background on yourself, thanks, and then we'll talk to Jürgen.
Sure, thank you. So as you mentioned, I am a co-founder and COO of FlyNow Aviation. And before that, I did the regular way of, I was grown up in a typical SME in Germany. And therefore, I studied economy and then joined different companies. And then founded and co-founded different companies and ended up in FlyNow Aviation because this was so convincing and so genius. And I'm really happy now to be part of the team.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for that, Yvonne. And Jürgen, yourself, a bit of a background. You have very deep history in the European automotive background in particular.
My profession is mechanical engineering, and I've been working in aerospace and mostly in the automotive industry for more than 20 years with different German OEMs and the Chinese OEM, mainly working on vehicle architectures for alternative drivetrains, starting from plug-in hybrids, battery electric, and also fuel cell cars. And founded in 2019 together with Yvonne, FlyNow Aviation.
Now, I understand that you may be responsible for a couple of design benchmarks for some very well-known German automobiles.
Yeah, maybe I can say something for you because he's always so humble.
He doesn't talk about himself much, so.
So Jürgen is really a genius when it comes to the whole vehicle architecture. And for instance, he developed the BMW i8 and i3 and many other cars at BMW. And the last 2 years before he founded FlyNow Aviation, he was responsible for the whole vehicle architecture for battery and fuel cell cars at Great Wall Motors. And he's really a genius when it comes to the whole vehicle architecture, which is, so to say, the knot of everything.
Oh, fantastic. And now we've taken this to the air and FlyNow Aviation. And we see in the background, of course, a couple of the aviation vehicles that you've developed. Perhaps, Jürgen, you can talk to us a little bit about the vehicles themselves. And I understand passenger and cargo, because I'm more interested in the cargo side. But let's talk a little bit about the product itself, where you're at in development, and the reason for being, the main reason for getting FlyNow Aviation off the ground.
Yeah, well, since I haven't worked in the automotive industry, of course, I also know the production processes. And in the automotive industry, they really know how to, get the cost down to such a level that the broad public is able to afford cars. Now, this has never happened with the aviation industry so far. And the big advantage with aviation is that, the necessary infrastructure is a lot less, no streets, bridges, tunnels. Therefore, you also need a lot less resources to do this. But until now, aviation is just way too expensive. And Now, our concept is not a drone by definition. It is more like a helicopter, having two counter-rotating propellers with a very low disc loading, which means that we have a very efficient way of how to produce the lift. How much power do you need for lift? Even better than helicopters on the one hand. But on the other hand, we have been working and designing on a family of eVTOLs for cargo, up to 200 kilograms of payload and the size of a Euro pallet, and 1 and 2 passenger versions also. And the reason for this is quite simple. If you look all over the world, the cars are getting bigger and bigger all the time, so you need a lot of resources to produce them. But on average, 9 out of 10 cars, there's only one person sitting in it. So most of the people, especially when they are commuting, of course, they are by themselves. So therefore, we, are concentrating on a single and a twin-seater, which gives a lot of advantages concerning the size of the aircraft and also the weight and therefore the resources needed to produce them. And with this concept, we can produce these aircraft at about the same cost as an average mid-sized car. And this gives us a huge advantage over all of our competitors because pretty much all of them are aiming for a premium market. And therefore excluding at least 95% of the population, which has the big disadvantage that you are not getting the political support necessary to really introduce these new means of transport. And therefore, you're not able to really, get this breakthrough as the car got in the 20th century.
Okay. And in terms of it, so you're not a drone. What is the definition then between this sort of vehicle and a drone?
Well, the definition of a drone is that you have to have more than 2 propellers or rotors, and that's a quite simple definition. And since we're having these 2 coaxial rotors, we are more like a helicopter, which has another big advantage because we can rely on existing regulations for certification. So we are, mainly using CS27 and CSVLR for very light rotorcraft because, our maximum takeoff weight is below 600 kilograms. Actually, it's 520 kilograms.
Right.
And with these, existing regulations, it's much easier to get the certification because you can rely on existing rules, right?
Okay, absolutely. So with many of the developments in aviation, so it's fully electric engine, and you've borrowed technology from the automotive world for the engines as well.
Well, we are having 2 electric motors, and each of one of these motors is driving one of the rotor planes, but each motor is 4 times redundant. So actually, even though it looks as if it would be 1 electric motor, it's actually 4. We are having 4 independent stators, 4 independent inverters, 4 independent power supplies coming out of a battery with 4 independent modules and 4 battery management systems. Now, usually in aviation, you have a 3 times redundancy. We are having a 4 times redundancy, with the big advantage that, even if 3 out of these 8 units should fail, we would be able to continue the flight on the one hand.
So safety,
and the second big advantage is that the flight dynamics do not change if, one of these units should fail.
Okay.
Because with many other multi-copter systems, if one rotor or one motor fails, then you have to shut down the opposite. Otherwise, you're getting into stability problems. So there's a lot of advantages coming with this. And what is probably also very important to mention is that, the production of this unit or of this modular family we have, is very close relating to the production processes which are applied in the automotive industry.
Okay.
And also, you know, our suppliers network very much also relies on automotive suppliers, because they have the knowledge and the mindset of how to produce things in huge quantities, and therefore also, you know, get into this lower cost because of the scale of economy.
Okay. Yeah, thanks,
for
Jürgen.
instance, this e-motor is developed by 100% Schaeffler daughter, which is Compact Dynamics, and it's the first 4 times redundant e-machine developed worldwide.
Okay. Fantastic. And Yvonne, I've been tracking you online. You've been in various parts of the world recently, and this is for what, development or promotion, or what have you been up to?
Yeah, so recently I spent 3 months in Saudi Arabia at KAUST, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. We were there through a so-called Destination Deep Tech program, where they bring startups from all over the world, which are really into deep tech and new technology. This was very, very inspiring, and I had a complete different view on Saudi Arabia than I do have now. So it's really taking off this country, and it's awesome what His Royal Highness is doing there. It's really amazing. And we had the chance to be part of LEAP, which is this huge technology event in Riyadh. Yeah. And recently we've been to IEEE Smart Mobility Congress at SMART. And they are opening a lot of doors for us, and it was really a great time. And end of last year, I've been to Aviators Africa in Johannesburg. It was a super interesting conference, and they are super interested in these new means of transport. Yeah, so I'm promoting our development, and looking for investors, looking for partners, for customers, and so forth.
Sure. And tell me a little bit about, fantastic. And tell me a little bit about the cargo, for all the cargo and air freight boffins in our audience, of whom there are a few. Usually, tell us a little bit about the capacity. What's the dimensional capacity? What's the weight capacity?
Yeah. So the cargo version is the size of transporting a Euro pallet. 800 times 1,200 millimeters, and 1 cubic meter of volume, and up to 200 kilograms of payload. So, this is the world's most common size, and there is just more or less endless applications. It starts with, supporting remote areas, which are now usually covered with helicopters, which of course are a lot more expensive than our solution, but also, on remote islands or mountains or oil rigs, also, transporting medicine or food, disaster relief, urgent stuff, but also just, very, very common things, which, are hard to transport with ground-based transportation systems.
Sure. But I am very convinced that this will be a substitute for many other means of transporting now, and we are really heading for a seamless integration into existing logistic chains. Okay. So with the possibility of automatic charging, automatic loading and unloading through a robot forklifter, and through automatic flying, and there is really almost none manpower needed. So this is a huge advantage for the logistic industry.
Okay. And quick wrap-up question. How far will it fly, distance, and how long does it take to recharge if it's electric?
So, since we are concentrating on the short distances, it's going to be up to 50 kilometers of range, because usually cities have a diameter of about up to 50 kilometers.
Yep.
And it's about half an hour flight time. We are going to have a battery capacity of 30 kilowatt hours, and charging is going to be with 30 kilowatt. So, the charging time because we are using about 22.5 kilowatt hours out of these 30 kilowatt hours. The last 25% for spare, and so it's going to be about up to 45 minutes. But we know that talking to potential customers, most of the legs are going to be a lot less than the 50 kilometers. So we are talking about 10 to 15, probably up to 25 kilometers.
Sure.
So we are using approximately 10 to 12 kilowatt hours, and therefore we keep the battery always in a state of charge somewhere between 45 up to 85%. So to maximize the number of cycles, and therefore charging time is approximately on average about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes.
Got it. Fantastic. So it's a FlyNow urban mobility air vehicle. Does it have a name? Does it have a nickname?
Well,
or do they?
There's different things, and we talked a lot about giving it a name, or just like also in the automotive industry, use letters and numbers. So we have P for passenger and C for cargo.
Makes sense.
and then we have the weight. So 200 or 120. Right. So there's two payload variants, and then there is a B for battery or an H for hydrogen, because we think that probably the next generation we can skip the battery also with a hydrogen fuel cell system. So, for example, the cargo version would be a C200B, meaning cargo with 200 kilograms of payload and the battery drivetrain, or P2H, which would mean passenger version for two people with a hydrogen fuel cell system.
Borrowing some methodology there from the automotive industry,
and you're not running into troubles with different names with different meanings in different countries, all kinds of stuff. And it's more like an engineering approach on the one hand, but everybody knows what a BMW 330i, for example, is, right? And so I think that. This is something which is understood worldwide, and everybody knows what we are talking about.
Absolutely. Jürgen, Yvonne, thanks so much for joining us on FlyNow Aviation. Really pleased to have you on. How do people get hold of you if they want to know more about this amazing flying machine?
Yeah, so we have a homepage, www.flynow-aviation.com. People can reach me on email, yw@flynow-aviation.com. We have as well a LinkedIn presence, so feel free to contact us. We are always happy to receive anything.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I think people will be able to see that information just above us. Thanks so much again, Jürgen, Yvonne, FlyNow Aviation. Really interesting to hear what's been going on. Big advancements since we met in London over a year ago at a conference there, Yvonne. So thanks very much again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Logistics Executive TV. Have a great day.